So now we will be seeing the one of the second major, I would say. First major we saw earlier, the three-level logical architecture. The second important topic that we are seeing today is what is called data models. So we saw earlier that we need to have something which tells me how the data is there in the database and all. So that is basically what is done by a data model. And a data model basically defines a logical data structure, the data relationships existing between the data and the consistency constraints. So a data model, why it is required and all we saw in previous slides, right? So we will just see what are the different types of data models available to us. So basically, if you see any conventional older textbooks, they will be having like a table like on the left side. So it will be dividing it into object-based, record-based, physical, with object-based being ER model, object-oriented, semantic, functional, record-based being relational, network, hierarchical, physical being unifying, frame memory. So all these, like I would say, were like the pre-2000 or in the last century kind of classification for data models, because most of these things are nowadays outdated with the current SQL, NoSQL, like two are the most prevalent DBMS applications around now, either based on SQL technology or based on NoSQL technology. So with that, something that is more relevant for the current period is whatever is on the right side. With one type, first type being relational data model, second being semi-structured data model, third being ER data model, and the fourth being object-based data models. And whatever are there in the left side, which is not coming on the right side, like network model, hierarchical, semantic, functional, frame memory, unifying. So all those things we will basically categorize it as like old data models, which are not commonly used nowadays. So we will just be covering whatever is required for us, whichever one is like currently prevalent. So that four things we will just see what it is, and relational data models and entity relationship model we'll be seeing in detail, and object-based and semi-structured we will be seeing in details when we go to NoSQL. So we will be only seeing like sample implementations of semi-structured and object-based. We will not like go into much detail about the theory behind those. But relational data models and entity relationship ER models, we will like go into the theory as well. So I'll just go through this. So the relational data model designs the data in the form of rows and columns within a table. And thus a relational model uses tables for representing data as well as the relationship between them. In this relational model, the tables are what are called relations. And this model was initially described by E.F. Code in 1969. And the relational data model is the widely used model, which is primarily used by commercial data processing applications. Like if you see Oracle, Oracle was, I think, one of the first relational database that came into picture. Then later SQL came. Then IBM DB2. So things like that are all based on relational data models. Then ER models is like a logical representation of data. Like we saw earlier that our conceptual level. So ER model is something that is very convenient for describing the schema. So it basically represents data as objects and relationships among them. And these objects are called entities, and relationships are actually found between entities. Like students and marks, students can view the marks, or a teacher teaches a course and students attend a course. So like that, like student, teacher, mark can be thought of as entities, and like teachers, views, attends, and all can be thought of as relations. And this model was designed by Peter Chen and published in 1976. And it is the one of the most widely used model in database design. So if you see, ER models are very much widely used for database designing, and relational models are very widely used for database implementation. And a set of attributes are used to define the entities. Like a student has an enrollment number, his name, phone number, mobile number, and all. Those are called a set of attributes. Now, an object-based model is actually extension of ER model with basically object-oriented concepts like encapsulation, inheritance, specialization, those kind of things. And this model supports a rich type that includes structured and collection types. And it came in picture in 1980s. So, but nowadays there are not much hype in this field. That's what I understand. Okay, may not be correct. Semi-structured data model is a fourth type. So this type of data model is different from other three. These are actually based on XML or things like that. So basically it is semi-structured data. That means like rows and tables, I can tell that it is fully structured data. So I can divide my data into like so many records, each having so and so values. But suppose I have like a key value pairs. If I am defining my data like that, then I can easily represent that in an XML file. So for things like that, I will go for what is called a semi-structured data model. So today's session, we will be seeing relational data models in detail. Maybe by 8:30 we will wind up, right? No issues, right? So shall we move to relational models? Okay, some doubt in relationship many two, it should be as in both sheet, we don't have unique value. Chairna, relationship and all I will come to detail tomorrow session. And data relationship, we will covering relationship many to many, one to one, one to many and all in detail. So your question I will just see many to many, which data should be primary data. Okay, so I will cover this in tomorrow sessions. But I will just since she asked the question, I am just answer. So we have basically let me take a free slide. Okay, this slide itself I will use. So basically we have one to many, many to many, and one to one. Three kind of relationships we can define. So if you see one-to-one relation, like a student and mobile number. Each student, okay, some students can have multiple mobile numbers also, right? So let's leave that. Let's assume parents. Okay, there's a database concerning students and parents. So each student will be having. Oh, that will not work here because a parent can have multiple kids, right? So let me think about something else, something unique about a student. Like let's say Mark, I cannot consider. Okay, then next examples I will consider. By that time I will think about something. So suppose a student has is attending 5 subjects, right? So that is like a 1:1:n, one to many relationship. One student can. That is also not correct. Okay, I will start from here then. So I will first consider a mean-to-end relationship. So like each student can have multiple courses, right? And for each course, there will be multiple students enrolled. So that is what Chetna asked. So you have basically many to many relation. So how you can identify each relation? So for that, you have to actually use the both sides, maybe student ID as well as course ID as the key for that. So for many to many relation, your both sides primary key will be coming into picture for you as your primary key for this relation. Whereas if you consider a 1:1 relation, so let's see that can be like suppose one student and the mobile numbers that we have. Like one student can have multiple mobile numbers, right? So that will also actually come in an M by N. Okay, no, right. Because one mobile number can be owned by only one student, right? So okay, so that we can tell as a one to many. So one student can have many mobile phones. Like and one mobile phone number can be used by only one student. Like two students will not be having the same mobile number. We can assume like that. Okay, so then that will be a 1:m relation. So in that case, the key that I will use will be on the many side. So mobile number. So mobile number I can use as the key for this relation. And suppose I have a 1:1 relation. So you assume that one student is having only one mobile number. So each student will be having one mobile number and each mobile number will be correspond to only one student. So that is like a 1:1 relation. In that case, you can use as the key on either side of the relation. Either the student ID you can use or the mobile ID you can use. So any side of the relation you can use as the primary key. I hope your doubt is clear, right? Right, so shall we proceed to relational models? Okay, yes, no, ready. So relational models and relational algebra, we will be winding up the session. Okay, fine. Tomorrow's session we'll be seeing in detail whatever I just told, this relational type of relations and how that comes. So we'll move to relational models. So we saw just earlier what is relational model and all. So it is an approach to managing data using structure and language consistent with first order predicate logic. So you need not worry about what it is. You can just assume like relational model is something that follows our sets that we learned in earlier thing and something that is called relational algebra. So a data model that is based on set theory and relational algebra is what is called a relational model. So a more appropriate like computer science related term for that is what is called first order predicate logic. So it was first described by E.F. Code, and in the relational model all the data is represented in the terms of tuples or records which are grouped into relations. So relations are called tables and tuples are records basically. And most relational databases uses SQL as their underlying language. And these systems, the SQL based systems basically are not like 100% relational models. They are like an engineering approximation. Like they are using some other features and not implementing some features which are there in the relational models. So we'll be just seeing like from theoretical perspective what all things are included in a relational model. So basically the author or the proposer for relational model is Code. So he defined some 12 rules. First he defined from 1 to 12. Then there is something that is like a foundation, so that is numbered as 0. So basically there are total 13 rules in what is commonly called as Code's 12 rules. So these are you can I have included this for your just understanding purpose. You need not like study these 12 rules and all. You can just read through foundation rule, information rule. In the next slide, I have provided what each one encompasses also. And once we go further ahead, you can just see how whatever we learned maps to corresponding rules. So basically, I will tell why I am not going through the details of that. So the relational model was invented by Code as a general model of data, and some other scientists like Date and Darwin were like the staunch promoters for this. And the third manifesto, which was written by Date and Darwin, is like taken as the current Bible for the relational database. And there are some differences between how Code initially described those concepts and the currently accepted practice as detailed in the third manifesto. That is why we will tell that while Code's rules were appropriate to their time, that is 1980s, their intent was like other companies promoted their product as relational, and to overcome all that only Code proposed these 12 points. So they are now currently superseded by third manifesto. So we will be seeing more in that lines. So the 12 rules are now currently more or less like a theoretical interpretation as provided by Code. I will be sharing the presentation. You can just read through that. What is the definition of each rule, that kind of things. We will not cover that here. Those are just for interest sake, right? So basically, we will go directly into an relational model. So as we saw, the database is represented as a collection of relations or collection of tables, and where each relation is represented by a two-dimensional table. It has the rows and columns. The rows are called tuples, and the entire table is called a relation, and each column is called a attribute. And the advantage of a relational model is its ease of use, flexibility, accuracy. How all these are achieved, we will come shortly. So as I told, each table is called a relation, and a relation is basically consisting of two parts, a schema and an instance. What is a relation schema? So a relation schema is something that tells me what's the name of the relation or the name of the table, what are the attributes in that, and what are the type of each attribute, domain, like if it is integer, date, character. So what is the domain? So that is what is basically a relational schema. Now, when I tell about a database schema, so that will be like the sum of relational schema of all the tables that are existing in a database. And the total number of attributes or the total number of columns in a table or a relation are what is called the degree of a relation. So if I have tell 10 columns in a table, I will have tell that the degree of this particular table or relation is 10. Now it is not a good practice to have many like thousands of columns in a database, right? So you should always, that means that you did not do your database design properly. So for any properly designed database, the degree of the relation or the degree of table will be something around 10, 20 or much less than that. You should have a data which is more relevant and which are related to each other only in a particular table. So you should always, when you, if you are required to design a database, you should try to keep the degrees of the table as minimum as possible. Then let's see what's the second term. What is instance? So instance or state is the records that are existing in a database. That is the rows. At a particular point of time, if I am having 1000 rows in a database, then that 1000 rows will form the current instance of that table. And some other term is there, intention and extension. Okay, that will not be using much. Next thing is tuple. So tuple, as we saw, each row in a table represents a record and is called a tuple. And a table contains n attributes. Then that means that in a row there are n elements. So that we will denote it as an n tuple. So and if you see this database, I have defined it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But even if the corresponding rows are occurring like 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, with the data in the rows being the same, both these will be like equivalent implementation, equivalent representations of the same database. I am not actually concerned about how my tuples are ordered in the table. I just need to have the total number of tuples matching between different representations. I am not actually concerned about whether they are put in some order or not. Whereas when I try to put it in a view, I may be interested in putting it maybe by ordered by member ID or alphabetically ordered by name or by date of birth. So that I will manage in my, when I describe it using a views. And attribute and relational model does not allow duplicate tables. Yeah. So this is one major fact. So suppose I have 2 rows having the same content, then I cannot call it as a relational data, because in that case I cannot like uniquely pinpoint my that I am talking about record number 10. So record number, since it is not ordered, record number 10, if it is being repeated at record number 12, both those can lead to discrepancy. So that way, a relational model does not allow duplicate rows in a relation. The attribute we saw, the name of each column is called an attribute. And domain is a set of permissible values that can be given to attribute. Like date of birth column, it can take only dates. Name column can take only characters. Membership ID need to take only numbers. So that kind of way I can define the domains. And once you define a domain for a particular column, we cannot assign a value outside the domain to that particular table.